Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Real quick, try and keep this one short tonight. Do a little video on not getting trapped. So last night we used, this is the bottom part of our trend line from last night. Um, did I move that a little bit? Looks like I did. I did not. What I did is I switched charts. So we were running on the 4 hour last night, so I'm back over on the 4 hour. This is the bottom of your trend line from last night, same one. This gives you a good idea where it is. Real quick, something to note that I did not note yesterday, and I just see it offhand right now. This was where we had the green line placed. I had a green line running through there, so I really didn't see this giant wick. The wick's a good indication. We kind of talked about the giant wick elsewhere. But this green candle, you've got decent green candle. At one point, it was this big, and RSI still fell off here. This is just one more sign, which I kind of didn't touch on that yesterday, so we'll point it out now. Real quick, what I wanted to do here was show you this. This is a trap. RSI does not work quite the same way. Remember momentum before price? We talked about that last night. Well, we broke it. So is this momentum before price? Well, yes and no. I mean, RSI can show momentum to the upside, but RSI to the upside does not quite work the same way as what I showed you previously last night. If you haven't watched that video, go back. Please watch that video. It's a very important lesson on RSI and declining momentum. That said, the next thing to look to would be volume. Is volume increasing? Volume really is not increasing here. So you've got a break to the upside, which if we relied on what I taught you guys last night or showed you last night, you guys might start trying to trade this. I don't want you to get trapped. It's very important to get the entire picture. So let's look for where our resistance is. Go ahead and turn on the EMA. You can see we've got overhead resistance that we're already bouncing off of. Something that you want to be careful of. Now, just looking around, you've also got a parallel or a horizontal resistance running through here. And you've got a few more right above it and above that. So there's a lot of resistance around here. You don't see them all at the moment, but very quickly we can pull up a fib, roughly something like this, and you're going to get a better idea of where these resistances come from. And you can see how price is kind of reacting to these lines. This was drawn a little quick, so it's not perfect, but pretty accurate. See how price, when it sold off, reacted off the 61, went towards the 23, and it's finally kind of settled between the 38 and the 50, which, judging by this chart, is where all the action is. It's between the 38 and the 50, so we're going to take those resistances as being somewhat strong. So, once again, don't get trapped by this. You need the full picture. Look at the moving averages, and we have some other signs here. So if we look at this, looks to me like this is going to turn into a parallel channel here. So not only do you have a moving average as a resistance, you also have a channel resistance. So you've got horizontal, you've got a descending channel, you've got moving averages. This is something you want to stay out of. So it's really important for me to cover that. I don't want to get people stuck because you're not getting the full picture. That said, there is some other possibilities I can already see. But real quick, we're going to zoom way out. Something I haven't done with you guys yet. We're going to go out to a monthly chart. You guys should always start your day by looking at monthly charts. It gives you a full picture. It lets you see history. It lets you slowly become in tune with the market a little bit more. You see 2 years ago, 1 year ago, current, right? And slowly move your way forward. Monthly, weekly, start to see a little bit better picture of the market, what's been going on. Go to daily. A little bit better picture. And then you start to see or new resistance levels. You can start picking out these levels a little bit. As you get in, you're going to start seeing different levels that you're not necessarily seeing on the day chart. Go to the 4 hour, you're going to see some more. I'll bet you we can find this 80, the top of this. I bet you there's a resistance there. What do you guys think? Think we can find it? Haven't really looked. We briefly looked yesterday, but I believe we were on a day chart when we went and looked. And that level is 11,509. So we're going to come over here. And we had kind of looked. Didn't really find anything that looked solid. But look at that level right there is where you're starting to bounce off of. So we're going to go ahead and just put a trend line through there so you guys can see that a little bit better. We're about done for the night, but I wanted to run through these with you. 11,509. Close enough. So this is going to, by zooming in, you can start seeing these resistance levels a little bit more. As you move down into like the 2 hours and the smaller charts, you'll be able to pick them out even more. So when you're looking for resistance levels, you really have to look left in your charts, and you can see how these levels start reacting. Broke through, got above, kind of settled in, finally broke, tagged, got above, settled to this level, kind of tried to ride it, broke through, retested. So you can see where these levels actually come from, and it's really the first key levels that once you get above this. Anything below that, some of these sell-off levels that we're in now, they're going to be down in this range here, and price is right here. Imagine that. Look at this. Previous resistance and support zones right in that range. So this is what you guys got to do is look left to start seeing some of these resistances. Sometimes you got to go back, but you want to keep in mind most recent support resistances are normally some of the strongest zones. So you don't want to be scrolling back 3 years unless there's nothing here. If there's nothing here, you need to go back and see where the support and resistances are. Doesn't mean they may not change a little bit, but they are there. So so that said, we've kind of went through this. We're down to a 2 hour. One last thing to show you, because I've shown you this kind of descending channel. There's actually a ascending channel here as well, which I can see fairly easily. I'm pretty sure it's going to measure out, so we'll go ahead and do that. It's going to go from about right here probably to about right here, and something like that. We're going to go ahead and lengthen that thing out so that it ties right through. And actually got that wrong a little bit, but it does work. So there is an ascending channel going on here, and we need to be aware of it and kind of keep that in mind, that may be something that comes into play too. So what you can do is kind of watch this going forward. We may need to adjust this a little bit to make it work. This may not be the actual channel, but I'll bet you it's somewhere close to what we have going on. In fact, I'll bet you that is it right there. Pretty close. So this is something else to watch going forward, because we may start climbing this line. But we'll wait until we get above this 38. I have a feeling that 38 is going to be a tough one, especially with these moving averages moving in. One more thing to note while I got you. If you guys go out to the weekly right now, something that I haven't seen really many people talking about is what's going on here, because this is becoming important right now. We've got all of our moving averages crossing over, and when these cross over, these become big supports, and these are going to start chasing price up. So getting back through these, you can kind of look at what has happened here. We may cross through them briefly, but until they cross back over, hopefully we can stay above them. You can see how we react to them as we come through them. After a big giant sell-off, obviously, we're going to come crashing through and get through a few of them, bounce up, crash through, bounce up. You can see how we react. Finally hit that 200 there, or sorry, that's a 55, not a 200. I don't have the 200s on right now, and bounce off of it. These things are really strong, especially when they start crossing over. And these are the first crosses. We've got some additional. I'm not even going to do that right now. We're going to try and get this video done, keep this short for the night. We'll talk about moving averages more going forward. Anyways, avoid the trap. I showed you what to look out for. I warned you that going up, it's not quite the same as down. So be warned. We'll show you how to get some good entries going forward here and some things to target. One thing to definitely look at here, if you want a good entry, just off the top of my head, for you to look at if it comes around, we are looking at this 61.8. This 61.8 level is a good entry for almost any trader. It's a very low risk to reward. Your bounce is going to go up to probably the 50, if not higher. If it retests this, ideally, and you can set a stop really close below this thing after you've entered and get out if it fails. So something to keep in mind. Obviously, you want to pay attention to the indicators too. You don't want to enter this thing blind, but anything below this level or at this level is looking like a good entry right now with the way this market is. So off the top of my head, something you can look for: low risk, high reward. You've got roughly 10% between these lines. So something to keep in mind. And we will keep bringing you some more content here going forward. Hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope this protected someone. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. Xrp Charts on Twitter, although the name is changing. Take note of it. The name will be changing. And like, subscribe, share. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a great night.